Hello, and welcome to the Consider Your Mind Podcast. I'm your host, Eric King, and along with my co-host, Mino Pachan, we're here to talk about all things mental health. Let's get into it.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Consider Your Mind Podcast, episode 27.
27, my favorite number, actually.
Oh, is it?
Really? Little known fact. Yeah, little known fact, man.
Why is that?
Used to be my football number.
Okay.
Used to be my football number for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
So until they took it, man, my junior year, I was like, dang, man. Then I was 20, but yeah, 27. I always just liked it.
Yeah.
And then
That's an interesting number to
and then-
have.
Yeah, just a number to have. But, in Hollywood, too, it's that the 27 curse.
Huh.
Like Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain,
Oh, yeah.
All these people dying at 27, Jim Morrison, like.
That's wild
So,
to think about.
Mm-hmm. Jimi Hendrix.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, episode 27. It's a blessing.
Episode 27. Last week we had a mid-year recap, so you guys missed that. Go ahead and go give it a listen. We had some announcement in there, and just pretty much just looking back at the first half of the year. So go ahead and check that out when you guys can. This week we will be talking about bullying and physical violence that happens in the workplace, at school, wherever it may be, and how it affects somebody when you go through that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know you had something you want to share right off the bat, so go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Because we've been doing this theme of, trauma, obviously we're showing PTSD. We had Rupert, Missick come on, hypnotherapist, trauma and getting over, victimhood, and abuse and stuff like that. Did a little episode on narcissism, and we've been, kind of skating around it. But at the end of the day, like, what's the trauma and, thing that we all can kind of relate to or know something about, and that's bullying, On some type of level, we've all been through some type of bullying, being picked on, or some people out there maybe even were the bully, but it's something that we all kind of deal with, and as adults, we think it kind of like goes away, whether it's us, what I'm saying, like, yeah, whether it's us when we were being bullied when we were younger, and just, getting out of that environment, growing up now, and kind of keeping moving and forgetting about it, or whether, you're an adult right now, and, there's bullies in the workplace and stuff like that, man.
People think it stops after high school. It really don't.
No.
Unfortunately, some people still think they're still in high school after. So,
yeah.
I mean, this kind of stuff happens all the time. It's unfortunate, but,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, one of those things we talked about in an earlier episode about the, cognitive dissonance, and everybody knowing that smoking is bad for you, smoking cigarettes is bad. It's been trained into us since we were kids, indoctrinated. But yeah, there's still just like that when we were kids, what they tell us, no bullying, anti-bullying campaigns. As we got older, we talked about cyberbullying, and things like that. Yeah. So it's been this theme that we all know is wrong, is bad, but it's something that persists, and it affects us, all in kind of different ways. And one thing that really triggered it for me was I was watching, randomly on just TV, like this thing called Origins of Hip Hop, and it had different people on it, and Fat Joe was one of them. Like, I think the first episode was Busta Rhymes, then Fat Joe, and so I watched this episode. I like his, music, lean back, make it rain. He's got the classics, and but one thing about him when he was younger, I didn't realize that. That persona he used to have called Joe Crack, which was like, crack you over your head, basically. Like, he was this bad dude when he was younger, but what that came out of was from him being bullied, in those middle school days, elementary and middle school. He was, big, he was Fat Joe back then, he was a fat kid, and people would pick him at him and, just be getting jumped all the time. He said, like, he felt like he got jumped, like, every day, in middle school and all of that. And there's a lot of people that, like, can maybe, relate to that, where you just literally, there's no break. You feel like you're getting picked on, you're getting jumped for years and years, especially during those developmental years. And eventually, like, a snap. And he said he had one friend named Leonard. You know what I'm saying? He had one friend that was cool with him, and they was walking to the store one time, and a group of dudes came up to him and said, hey, if you don't help us jump him, we're going to, jump you. And then his friend turned on him and, helped him jump him. And he said,
Wow.
he's like in middle school, man. He goes back to the house and he said he starts just crying and starts tying his shoes over and over again and said, man, next person that cross me, whatever, I'm going at him. Da-da-da. He said, I don't care no more. And like, he just kind of became this little terror, all from those, bullying incidents. It became like this whole bad dude persona, so that at the point where it was funny that when he was coming out as a rapper and wanting to rap, people were like, you, they were almost like scared and they didn't take it serious, like the dude that's terrorizing the neighborhood, like you try to be an entertainer now, you trying to be at the Apollo and rap, man, we scared of you, right. And again, it even kind of brought some shame to his family the way he acted, but that was his reaction to when he was bullied. Now all of a sudden, that's never going to happen to me again. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be the aggressor. I'm going to make you scared of me. And so just thinking about that, like, and now we think of Fat Joe today. He's this lovable, kind of fun guy. He was even on LeBron's episode recently, and he talked about, is that persona still there? Joe Crack, is he still there? That being guy? He's like, bro, I'm so suppressed. That guy is so suppressed. He's a family man and stuff now. But it just got me thinking about how many people go through that. Those transitions and what it sparked by, again, bullying when they were kids.
When you think about it, it's like, yes, we don't want, obviously, you don't want bullying to happen to anybody, but, the fact that it does, it's helped shape some people we are motivated by nowadays. If they weren't bullied, maybe they wouldn't become the person they are now. So in some cases, you might think
have some
it's
experience
necessary.
with it on some level.
I mean, it's part of growing up, regardless, but yeah, and obviously we don't want the bullying to go to the point where it really bringing harm to somebody. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, those are the cases we do hear about when it goes too far. Because we bully each other all the time. It's usually playful, especially with your friends. Oh, you get bullied all day with your friends, But in this case, we're talking about somebody that you don't know, that you don't hang out with, and just picking on
and
them
again,
just
my whole
because,
thing was too, he was getting jumped.
They're different.
Once he started really standing up for himself and had people like, hey, why don't you fight him one-on-one? That's when he got his rep. They came at him one-on-one and he was, dragging people. And so, again, that's a whole different thing. It's like when you're getting ganged up on, opposed to, when you really have a chance to defend yourself, man. And so and as you said earlier, we think that stuff ends in like high school, okay? We getting done with that. But no, man, there's bullying in college. There's bullying and, hazings and stuff like that. They had to have, obviously, reports in universities to stop certain hazing practices. Again, it's cyberbullying, obviously, as you get older. And then in the workplace, we talked about work stress, on-the-job stress. We have an episode on that. Narcissists in the workplace, we need to have a whole episode on that. But this kind of goes to that. If you have a narcissist or somebody who's a malignant narcissist, which means they want to work the system, hurt you, to have that person, work with you or at your job, man, that's torturous. That's trauma. That's traumatic.
Right. And just like it's crazy to think, because you think maybe it's happening more often than you think. People just are afraid to speak up, because it's why you causing trouble at work, just it's a hassle to deal with this and that. Nah, man, you're getting bullied at work. I don't know. For me, I would either try to leave that job. I'd tell somebody, because I'm trying to make money, and the last thing I need to worry about is somebody making fun of me and harassing me, for no reason.
Because that threatens your livelihood. Which there's a certain, again, when we did the original episode on stress and stuff like that, workplace stress is most commonly associated with physical illness. So. If you have anxiety and you're, guts in and out about going to work every day, so stressed out of, like to wake up day after day, you have to spend so much time at work, if we think about it. Because, I'm picking school and work specifically for a reason. Those are the times when we got to be in institutions or, we're trained to sit down places and spend hours and hours a day, away from our families, and our security and the people that are supposed to love us. Now we go into the jungle in this environment and it's more on the line. There's a livelihood. You got a family to support. So you're trying to just make it work. More pressure,
I haven't really had an incident at work. I think for me, it was more school, middle school. It's probably, but even then, I wasn't.
Middle school, boy, I tell you.
I guess if for people that, one of my closest friends, when we were in kindergarten, was getting picked on, and I guess I pretty much beat up the bully that was bullying my friend.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
Yep.
it's just, I don't know, it's just, I don't like bullies, and it triggers me to see bullies bully somebody, if that makes any sense.
Hmm. To see somebody getting taken
Yeah,
advantage of, what's that expression we always learned growing up? Pick on somebody your own size. You know, there's something to that. There's a reason we say that we don't like
yeah.
unfair fights. There's weight classes even in different fighting for a reason.
At the
You know.
professional level.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly, and it does it for a reason. So it's not bullying. No, this is actual competition and stuff. And so, um, one thing that I know you touched on it a little bit, kind of alluding to it. A certain amount of it is it almost seems natural, like kind of a rite of passage type of thing. You got to go through some
Yeah.
bullying, or you got to go through teasing, or you got to go through this, certain amount of adversity and figuring out how to, socialize. It's part of the socializing thing. What they used to call it. I don't know if they
Mhm.
still call it this, but playing the dozens. Snapping
Oh,
on
yeah.
each other.
Roast
You
sessions?
know
Oh,
there's
man.
yeah, roast
Oh,
sessions. You feel
oh my
like
God. That's what builds. That's what builds
a piece of
character.
that. That's the
You
that's the
have to
good
be able to
nature of
roast
it.
and make fun of your
Yeah,
friends, and
yeah.
it's just natural.
Hmm.
Everybody does it. I don't care who you are. Your group of friends, you make fun of each other. It's what you do. Because if you don't, then you don't care about them.
Yeah. And here's the thing. And if you couldn't roast, because I wasn't as great roaster, but I wanted to be though. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted to be one of those guys that could really,
Roast.
snap on somebody and really, I could. Yeah, I wanted
It's
to be one of
hard.
those people. I couldn't do it though. I didn't. I think I had to have a certain amount of bullying in you, man. You got to, and I
Some of the
just didn't
things that
have it.
people say, man, I'm like, yo, that's
Man.
hilarious. And they be coming up on the spot. It's like almost a freestyle battle for real. And it's just making fun of each other.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It kind of reminds you of that,
Yeah.
man. And instead of like, oh, like that, emotional
Oh my
damage. You just wish we had that.
God. And
So many one-liners and things like that. But where does it cross over into, again, the bullying? Again, making fun of each other, that peer group type of thing, laughing with somebody. Like, but how often, when all of a sudden do you, like, man, I don't like being the butt of all the jokes, you know? It
at
sucks
that
to be
point,
the
you have
butt
to
of all
speak
the
up.
jokes, you know what I'm
Because
saying?
especially in your friends, you have to speak up. Because you don't,
Mm-hmm.
you're just going to keep on doing it. And they're going to do it without them knowing that you're actually, like it hurts your feelings for real. So you just got to let them know.
Yeah, and I think that is the thing that people carry with them into adulthood that makes them not speak up at
Yeah.
work too, not wanting to rock the boat, want to be one of the guys, not want to be ostracized. But all of a sudden, now you become that person everybody makes fun of, or even at worst, you're the one they blame. Oh man, he's slacking. Oh, it's always his fault. You're, you know, making you feel down and using you as the scapegoat. I think that has, people get well practiced in just letting stuff go, letting stuff slide. But all of a sudden you're in the professional setting, and now this could really hold you back, from getting promotions. You know, how you're seen and how you're perceived at a job. If you're seen as incompetent, if you're seen as the butt of all the jokes, don't have respect, that really, now that's going to impede your, professional growth. Again, we don't think about it that deep, but that's real. Just like when we were kids, bullying was bad because it impeded you in the classroom, right? Workplace promotion, and that can decrease your station in life.
Mm.
And but it's practiced from kind of early on. And one of the things in our narcissism episode that was covered was um, um, how again narcissism is like the secondhand smoke of
Yeah.
um, secondhand smoke of mental health, because people see people with these narcissistic traits, the ones snapping on everybody, making fun of putting everybody down. These are the people they see kind of getting promoted, being the leaders. These are the ones getting the girl. These are the ones getting the job. They're seen as aggressive and leaders and stuff like that. But it can also often be at the expense of others.
Right.
You know, anything to kind of get ahead. And if you don't have that mentality, it can almost seem like there's something wrong with you.
Right.
Why don't you want to be a bully?
Right. I'm trying to fit in.
What? I remember I had a personal story again, small thing. It's we had this dude in high school named Rupert. And you ever met somebody that was so athletic or so gifted that like it just wasn't even fair?
Oh, yeah.
Like again, he worked hard and everything. Don't get me wrong, but it's just he could just do stuff nobody else could do and make it look easy.
Right.
And where like we would be like, bro, he would run like the hurdles. He was only like 5'10", could jump like 6'6", high jump, in the air, could triple jump, dang near 50 feet, hurdles, killed everybody and everything. And we used to tell him, yo, man, Root, man, you should talk trash to people. Like, you ain't gonna beat me. Because again, he was like, he never lost either. And so I was like, bro, you should like talk trash. But he didn't have that personality. It just wasn't in him.
Yeah.
We would make fun of him for not being able to make fun of somebody else almost. Be like, man, Rupert talk trash like, yeah, you think you're fast, huh? Yeah, well, you're not as fast as me, but you're pretty fast though, man. You're not bad. You feel what I'm saying? Like he wouldn't have the heart to diss nobody because that really wasn't in him.
It just wasn't him.
Yeah, it wasn't him.
His personality.
Yeah, exactly. Or to be braggadocious or bully or put somebody down or anything like that. As talented as he was, bit of a dude as he was.
Right.
But again, how often, like I said, where people around them encourage people who are so superior in certain things to now look down on other people who are so pretty. What's that classic, man? Mean Girls. The classic. I know a hush just fell over the room, bro. I saw it on stage too. Sidebar: when I worked at a theater company, I saw the live stage version of Mean Girls a couple years ago. It was a trip, man.
It was
a musical, of course, man.
Or is it just a
it was a trip, man. It was nostalgic, but it was awesome to actually see it on stage. Went to the cast party afterwards and everything. It was great. But again, what was that whole thing? Once she got popular, once she got into a position, then she started acting like that. She started getting mean. It's almost like the meanness comes with the talent. Once you get to a certain position, you're supposed to all of a sudden be a bully. It's expected of you.
It's kind of like you crossed over to
the cool kids. And so not only do I not associate with certain other kids, but now it's my job as part of the cool kids club, the KKK cool kids club.
Yeah, to fit in, right?
And so now I look down on another, group or not another,
and the cycle continues. It's like I said, it's hard to you will never ever stop bullying completely. It's literally just part of growing up. What you want to stop or prevent is from it escalating to a point where, people are getting jumped because they wear glasses.
Yeah, physical violence. And again, I'm very sensitive to that, my four-eyed self.
At that point, that's crossing the line completely. You want to bully, make fun, crack jokes, that's all normal, but only until someone says, hey, I'm not cool with that. All right, talk about it amongst your friends. It doesn't have to go to the point where you're just beating up somebody because you don't like that they wear glasses.
But you ever had any experiences that stayed with you that like surprised you? Like, man, F him to this day for that.
Me personally, not really. I never really was bullied, I guess you could say. I've been made fun of, but nothing really is hey, you got a round face, just making fun of how it looked. And I'll just say, I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? I've seen people get bullied to the point where, it got to me where I did something about it, because...
Oh, I got it.
It's not cool to just knock a kid's books over every time he's carrying it to class and stuff like that. That's not cool.
Yeah, exactly. So have that empathy for people. So that's very non-narcissistic of you. Have some empathy, like, that's not cool. Especially when you see somebody in particular that's getting picked on, that can't defend themselves and stuff, man.
Yeah, that will get me 0 to 100 real quick. Like, it's uncalled for, man. Like, for real, like, that's what I was talking about, because I see it happen when I was in 7th grade. Dude has a big backpack on, where they stuff all the books in. I'm just going to say the dude's a nerd, man. He was like, whatever. But he was cool. I was cool with him. I always say what's up with him. We talk and just joke. I just crack jokes with him, whatever. But he's one of those kids that wears the suspenders.
All the way with it.
Yeah, all the way with it. And he's also on top of the big book bag. He's carrying textbooks in front of him, like 2 or 3 of them, big-ass ones, right?
All the
stereo. And he goes by, typical sales type, and you see it, and it's like, no, this cannot be happening. Obviously, there's a jock football player showing off in front of girls, bumps him into the locker, and drops everything. I'm like, that's the thing. I reacted like that. I laughed, but I was pissed,
man. You wrong for that.
Yeah, and then I was like, yo, that's not cool. And then, so I actually shoved the dude, and, the rest was whatever. Yeah, like that's not cool. It just for what? Like what did you gain from that? You know? Yeah, you get a bunch of people laughing at him, like, ooh,
Hmm.
okay, it's over. Like,
But you said it, man. Trying to show off in front of some girls. How many dudes do some stuff, throw some other
yeah.
guy under the bus to try to, you know, get some attention for some girls that look cool in front of them.
Anything a dude does that's out in blue or whatever, it's always
Always
for
for
the
the
girl.
girl. What was my famous
Always
line? Like
for the
all
girl.
good stories, it started with a girl.
Right? It's
Hmm.
always for the girls.
Yeah.
Women.
No, except, and again, even what's deep about it, what did I mention? Mean Girls. It's always for the girl, even for them, even if it's for the other girls. you know,
All right.
no, but I asked you that question because you know what, like I didn't grow up being bullied a whole bunch of nothing like that, but there would be certain things that would still just like trigger me sometimes. Like I would think back to it, like I have this thing, and I talk to my therapist about it as well. I relive moments a lot. You know, I'm into rhetoric. I'm into conversation. So I always relive conversations, how things could have gone differently. How could I said this, and you know, just going back in my head over things. And so one of the things I do go back on my head though was my reaction one time to dude straight up bullying me, and this was in high school. Like I was like 16 at the time. This is where I'm on a football team, varsity football team, and one of the senior dudes, a lot bigger dude, he's like an offensive, lineman dude, man, linebacker guy, and he was just a, douche, man. He was a D to me, like for whatever reason, we'd be doing sprints or whatever. If I slacked anything like that, he'd come at me, try to push me, all this stuff, and he was huge too. And I remember one time, like we're in the locker room, and we get into it, something like that. I push him, and then he pushes me, and I fall back, like pushes the hell out of me. And I remember, as I'm, right there, got my back turned to him, and I had like my helmet in my hand. My helmet was right there, and I really wanted to turn around and just hit him with my helmet, like boom, surprise him, and just, you know, hit him right in his jaw or whatever, right in the locker room. And I still like something. I wish I'd have done that. But again, it would have been all bad because again, he was a starter on the team. Like if if I knock this man's teeth out with his helmet, I'm going to get suspended. It's all types of problems.
Assault.
But I still think about that stuff. Shame to say it.
Yeah, man, I can see how that affects you. Like, I'm trying to think, like, here, the thing with me was, for my age in my group, all the kids that I knew, I was the bigger kid. So it was like no one really picked on the bigger kid. You know what I mean? I was always a big kid until we got to 7th grade. It was a different ball game at that point.
The growth
Everyone's my
spurts
size.
occurred.
7th grade. Yeah. And at this point, then that's when I said, even then I didn't get much bullying. I don't know. I see it get done to people, like nothing too extreme to a point where it's hazing, but just typical stuff that picking on this guy because he's whatever. But I can't think of like the closest for me is just someone saying that I was fat. Like damn, you're a fat soccer player, ha 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 ha. And then I always have some type of smart comeback, and then just stop talking.
Oh, I know you had the snaps. I know you, Mino. Mino's nice now. He's changed his weight.
It was one of those things where it's no talking. It's just business. That's pretty much what it was back then. That's why I got in trouble. Had to learn how to woo-sa. So, yeah, man. It was, yeah. Don't really have crazy stories besides me. You're fat. You're a fat goalie.
You're Asian that's
slow.
not good at math, man. Ha ha.
And then, yeah. Right?
Yeah, no.
I'm not the stereotype, typical Asian.
No, and you know what? Speaking of that too, like, and on top of all that stuff, in addition to the bullying that you have to deal with regularly, then there's the racial stuff that you got to deal with.
Yes, it was more so of
Bruh.
that than anything.
Yeah, man, that straight bullying too, that can be traumatic. And again, we all for just like rites of passage, we all for playing dozens, making jokes and all that other stuff. But man, especially growing up in Minnesota, like it was wild how many just people had like, hey, you want to hear this joke? And they just had racist jokes stored up, bro. They couldn't wait to say, like, it was, bro.
And if you're Asian, you get, man, a plethora of Asian jokes. Cat eater, smell like fish. Hey, why your eyes in widescreen? Like, all this crazy stuff. I'm like, to me, I find it funny because some of it is true. But but I don't take any offense to it. But that's just me, Unless if I don't know you and you're saying things, straight up just to be an a racist prick,
Mm-hmm.
then yes, I'm gonna take offense to it.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's my friends and all that, I'm not gonna lie. Me and my friends, we say the most racist things
Man,
to
I
each
know.
other
I'm your friend.
on
I
the
know.
daily.
We've
Yeah.
said some wild stuff to each other, and
Yes,
as a,
if that people heard, you be like, "Oh my God, cancel
well, yeah.
him."
Okay, this is the PC show, man. We might have to break some of
Yeah.
that stuff out on our Let's Talk About It.
Yeah,
But
and
nah, yeah, there's certain
the
things.
other podcast you can hear that. But yeah, it's just nuts.
But where does it cross the line? Again, it's all about that. Where does it cross the line? The drama, stress. Because the thing I think that's so important, man, is in previous guests, Leela T talked about it, our relationships and how we treated each other, and everybody just wants to, put each other down and really dump on another person to raise them up, as opposed to when you really got people, in your life that, no matter what's going on, you still know that that person's rooting for you. They're still in your corner, you know. And so that goes a long way. And there's so many people, again, they don't have that. When you're getting bullied, when you got the violence, when you're getting jumped, when poor little fat Joe, man, middle school, your one friend gets turned against you, so he don't get jumped. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's something else.
The damage, bro. I'm telling you, it put that idea in my head.
We
I was
call
like,
that
man,
a B
that's
made.
deep.
You know what I'm saying? A B made
Oh
person.
yeah, exactly, man. Some cold, just some wild stuff. And then, but how do people deal with it? Some people, again, internalize it and manifest in other ways, passive aggressively. Other people, they become the bully.
Yeah.
What was it? Oh, what was one of the most famous movies I remember seeing? Just was about straight adult bullying. Was Waterboy, bro. You remember that with
Oh,
Bobby
man.
Boucher, obviously, but I'm thinking of the coach. You remember his coach was getting bullied by the other coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, the guy that used to be the fines.
Bullying happens everywhere.
And again, literally, that was it was a funny movie, but if you go back and look at it, what it was really doing, again, it affected him in his workplace. He couldn't all of a sudden, the whole thing was when he got over his bully, then he could think of plays again. Then he could, the guy stole all his playbook. We had all his great plays, and just he took it, took it lying down, didn't defend himself, and he stopped believing in himself. So once he stood up for himself and believed in himself again, then he could create again, then he can get ahead again. And again, it's a funny movie. Shout out to Adam Sandler. He's got a lot of funny movies, but a lot of them got a lot of good messages.
Yes.
I got to give it up to Adam Sandler. I got to see his new one too.
One of his favorite movies that did, I think it was Click.
Okay, Click,
tearing
another
up.
one. Great message of the movie, for real. As he's got you laughing,
Very
man, he
nice.
really dropped some, jewels in that stuff.
Man, I'm just thinking about that last movie he just did, actually.
Yeah,
Hustle.
with, like LeBron
That's a
produced
good.
it or something. Yeah.
That's a good movie, man. If y'all haven't seen
got
that,
it.
give it a watch.
And shout out to Ant-Man. Anthony Edwards, I hear, is in that one. Go Timberwolves.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't seen it, exactly.
You need to watch it.
There you go. I need to get up on game. I've been busy, bro. Fatherhood, man. It was
Yes,
just
sir.
Father's Day a little while ago. Family reunion. By the time this comes out, my family reunion just happened. I'm on the move, man. Been busy. Family
Sure.
stuff. Got to. And so, again, one of the things as well, which, I think doesn't get talked about enough really is the pressure that you, feel to, be the victim. Once your reaction to it to just kind of stay down and it be okay once you have that out. But something that, it's understandable. Oh, that happened to you. Well, hey, man, I'd be messed up too. And this world will let you stay down. But something that Rupert really touched on, and it deserves its own episode, I'm going to do it, is post-traumatic growth. The reaction can be different. It can make you a better person. Now, all of a sudden, now you're a comedian from all them dozens. Yeah, you're like a real comic. All those years of taking, shots and people coming at you, and now all of a sudden you really become really good at the comebacks. You become really
builds
good.
character.
Exactly,
You know
building
what I mean?
character and things like that, and the growth that kind of comes from that. And who DC Young Fly is? You seen him? Wilding Out. Yeah, that's your stuff. You put me on to them actually. He says
sure.
he was on Shannon Sharp show, bro, and he said his parents are really old. He's the youngest, and his parents are super old. His oldest brother is 66.
What?
I know, right?
That's his grandpa.
He said, bro, when one of his dudes capping on him, I think it was Chico Bean, said, bro, you got a grand brother. I was like,
Oh,
bro, that's some cold
see,
stuff.
if they didn't know each other,
But
that'd
he
be
said,
bullying.
yeah, I'm telling you exactly. It'd be bullying, but
Yeah,
that's
but
his homie. It was
that's
all
a
good. It was
healthy
funny, but that's a
bullying.
heck of a
That
joke,
is
bro.
a heck of a
There you go.
joke.
That's a perfect
Oh my
example, bro.
God.
He's like, bro, you got a grandbrother.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It was so funny. He had to tell it on another podcast. I was like, that's funny. We archiving that forever. But the whole thing was when he was younger, people knew that, and so they would try to come at him about it, And so that would force him, to come back at them about something. And so now, if you see like the 85 South show, I really like their podcast and everything. They do roasting sessions. Somebody could be in the crowd, Now, particularly as comedians, you got to be offended out there. You got to be ready with the jokes and the hands nowadays. But now he's making money from that stuff. That character, that being so quick, being so using your pain and what you really go through, to make art out of it and to make light of it. Because what we're doing talking about is being vulnerable, and bullying. Grown ass men is talking about bullying and flashbacks of bullying. That's very vulnerable. Not everybody's doing that. Some people that do it are
They always
comedians.
talk and refer to like their pain and their struggles, kind of like some of the specials they would name it, like Kevin Hart, "Laugh at My Pain." They talk from experiences. Some of my favorite comedians, like Joe Coy, all he talks about is family and the struggles of being a Filipino American growing up, and all this stuff, and they bring about their struggles and what they went through, and you find humor in that to make yourself grow, and you learn from it as well. It shapes you into who you are.
No, that's so true. Like perfect example. Yeah, laugh at my pain. And I've heard that like so many comedians, that stuff comes from a lot of pain, so they can see the bright side because it's so dark. And it's a good thing, man. Like that's a positive reaction to things. Again, this is a show promoting mental health at all times, and laughter is good for your mental health when you're able to exactly be able to laugh at yourself, your situation.
Yes,
That stuff
laughter.
is positive for you. It releases endorphins.
I mean, here's what I do, and what I deal with it a lot, where I'm just in my own head. Anytime I'm feeling down, depressed, anxiety's got me beat. Like I try to really focus on laughing. I watch things that are funny, comedy. YouTube's helped a lot when you just look up funny clips. Maybe look up your favorite comedians.
We did that the other day. We literally pulled up Michael Jackson
Your
jokes.
favorite, yeah, and it's just you just laugh, and
Exactly, big fan of him, but we wanted to hear some jokes.
I'm a big
about
fan
him.
of Michael Jackson, by the way. Rest in peace. Yeah, some jokes. It's jokes. It's funny, and you just gotta do things that make you happy, man, make you feel good, and that's the only way to get out of that funk. While you're going through it, it's not you might not be able to enjoy it, but I guarantee you'll get some type of laughter or smile if you start doing that. It'll happen, and consistency is key. It's every
Hmm.
day.
Nah, man, I saw something cool. My boy posted. Shout out to my boy Jesse. He's getting married next month. But it was something like, if you can't be creative, be consistent. If you're not feeling at the time, you're not feeling your most creative, or it's your art form, whatever you're on, you know, showing up though, being consistent, that's what you can control. And so I really took that with me today. That helped me, man.
Yeah, man, that's very that's literally the secret to anything that you do in life. Consistency. No matter what you do, diets, workouts, uh, uh, working on a task, completing tasks, reaching little goals, setting that up. If you're consistent at it, you'll succeed. You'll overcome anything. Just you gotta
Hmm.
work at it.
Hmm. And that's what, at the end of the day, you don't want no bully in your life in whatever situation, your school, your job, wherever it's. I don't even care if it's your church. There's bullies at church or at the temple or wherever. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even get into that. We didn't even touch that whole pressure and bullying and that. Holier than thou bullies. But whatever it is, showing up, your behavior, you consistently, your attitude, you know, you showing up and being consistent, that kind of overcomes that. That's a defiance in the face of what is trying to discourage you. Someone's trying to discourage you. They want you to leave your job. They want you to drop out of school. They don't want you around. Things like that. You know, they think their behavior, if you change according to their that's how they win. Kind of almost, again, I hate to use the T word, like, terrorism. That's kind of the whole idea, to scare you into, new activity, into not living your life, fully. I'm trying to scare you into, modifying your behavior. And that's the best defiance that, you can have is by saying, no, man, still showing up same way, still, showing up in life, showing up for my life, for real, man. So, yeah, man, that shit was on my kind of heart to talk about. Obviously, shout out to Fat Joe. Just randomly watching this thing and, to think about his whole persona, his reaction to that, and to think of him now and how many people actually have so many symbols, of that abuse when they were younger, physically being beaten up and being bullied, especially during those middle school years. Especially during, middle school and adolescent years. And then, people's reaction and what that, carries into their adulthood. So really hope somebody got something out of this. Got a chance to share my old, bullying story that I'm still, again, I'm in therapy, people, clearly, things trigger me and I think about thoughts and, situations from way the heck back and, when I was like 16 but it happens, those traumas in life and those moments in life, they stay with us, but it's all about, how we choose to react to them and, progress, a little post-traumatic growth. That's what we promote around here. But yo, man, you got any? I need a mental health break, bruh.
I got you. But before we get into that, I just want to say, obviously, we want to hear from you guys as well. Today's episode pretty much was sparking something in you to want to speak up and share your story. Reach out to us, let us know. You might be able to get on the podcast and share your story, share your experiences with mental health as well. So, with that being said, for you, Eric, top 3 go-to snacks.
Go-to snacks? Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that's an easy one because I've had some new candidates. I'm gonna go with my classics.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm a really big fan of plain potato chips.
What brand?
Bro, like Lay's. Lay's or from Chicago or something like that. Jay's.
Okay.
But just even if it doesn't have to be the ridges. Nothing against the ruffles, but just plain potato chips will do. And then, because I like to put ketchup and stuff on them sometimes. I ain't gonna lie. So that's my poor snack.
Interesting.
Because it's like fries, man. You put fries in your ketchup.
Okay.
Chips are just thin fries, and I love ketchup. So that's, easy one right there. Number 2, ice cream. Easy. Technically, I said it's changed a little bit because now gelato. I've discovered gelato. It's like ice cream, but better. I know, right? Gelato. Shout out to...
Fancy.
Yeah, I know, right? Shout out to that. So, salted caramel. Anything salted caramel, but especially gelato. Over the moon.
Okay.
And then, man, I'm a gummy guy, man. So, gummy bears, gummy worms. Usually gummy worms.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sour or regular?
Just regular. I don't have to be sour. Okay. I just finished some gummy worms yesterday, actually. Now that I think about it.
That actually sounds good right now.
I'm trying to tell you, hey, man, that's my thing. I like, gummy stuff. Some people like hard candies, and they're okay, but... Yeah, man. So those are my top 3. Right. I think I covered the gamut, too. Right. So I got the crunchy, saucy. That's the crunchy, the chips. That's the dry. Right. Got the ice cream, gelato specifically. Then you got the gummies. So I think that's good diversity of my palate.
That is.
What about you, my friend? What you be bunching on?
Man, one of my favorites is, I was just talking to you about it earlier today.
Yeah.
The squid.
Bro.
It's like a squid jerky thing. It's hot. Yeah. Delicious.
See, this is why you need to have diverse friends. They can put you up on this that never know about no squid jerky. If it wasn't for me, though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, well, if you're Asian,
if you're not in the club, not Asian at all. I would have never known about the squid jerky.
And then my second one, I love Skittles.
Okay, hey,
like
they up there.
Regular Skittles. It's just there. I could buy a big bag of them, put them in a jar, and just have them on the go when I'm just feeding for some candy, man. It's just delicious. Gets my mouth watering every time. Shout out Beast Mode. And then my last one, I'm not gonna lie, I have this weird obsession with Kit Kat. Just original Kit Kat.
You know what?
I need that break.
There's something about that break,
Ever since I was a kid, I just go to Kit Kats. Yes. It's delicious. I might go get some right now after this.
You know what's wild with Kit Kats for me? I actually, obviously you got the little individual pieces you break, but then after that, like, because they're like wafered. I like slide one of like the wafers off. Like you, know, you like pull them apart.
You can do that with
do that stuff
the candy bar style they have. The big Kit Kat with just one big one, but it's like a piece, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I usually bite off the top and just eat the wafers by layer.
See, this man is serious. He knows about the different varieties of the Kit Kat.
Oh, man.
Fandom confirmed.
Kit Kat, Kit Kat out there, you want to sponsor, you know what I'm saying?
For real. I'm gonna need a gym
chocolate
sponsorship right after
mind.
that. I'm gonna need a Kit Kat and a gym sponsorship. And the same thing, man. So
yeah, man, that's all I got this week.
Yeah, man.
Anything else?
Yeah, man. Thank you all so much for tuning in again. I hope you all got something out of this episode. Please, like, share, subscribe, comment below. Let us know your experiences with that. And we will see you next week. Peace.